Good day, all you liberty lovers, and welcome to Fiendish Friends episode 12, where we have a rock star in Bitcoin Cash joining us. Mathieu Geukens joined today to talk about his work in the ecosystem. There'll be many things discussed, but it will include his work on CashScript, if I can speak, Cashonize, Token Explorer, Tokenaut.cash, and why he is a firm believer in Bitcoin Cash as sound money for the world. Hi, Matthew, and welcome to Phoenix and Friends.
Hello, thanks for the introduction. Yeah, and as you can see from all those project names, I'm a big fan of the Cash brand for Bitcoin Cash. So I think that makes us unique and it's different from the rest of the crypto ecosystem. It gives us a nice little branding edge. So I like to use it wherever it makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is an important discussion, branding. Definitely come back to that point. Yeah, so really glad that we could finally, find some time, make it work out, to have you on here and to discuss your activities. I think it's absolutely appropriate that today is Valentine's Day, so this is our date together. I hope you received the flowers. They should be yours. Yeah. So,
They must still be on their way.
are they still on the way? Okay, I'm sure they'll be there soon. So just make sure everyone, everyone that's on Phoenix and Friends for the first time is just to make sure everyone's aware of who they are. They can go and go and check those episodes out because they are all recorded and they're all shared on the favorite largest podcast sites. Yeah, maybe you could just give a little self introduction. Who is Matthew Goikens? Who's the man behind Mr. Svets?
Yeah, all right. So I'll start off with I entered Bitcoin Cash in 2018, and the crypto ecosystem a year earlier in the bull run of 2017. I was still a high school student back then, so I couldn't even. I was 17, a real millennial, so I couldn't even buy any crypto legally because, yeah, for the most exchanges you need to be an adult. And then I went into university and studied economics, and this kind of is related to my Austrian economics and libertarian bent. So we might go into that a little bit. But on the side, I
For
was
sure.
also always interested in coding. And of course, to me, cryptocurrency is a combination of the two. Of course, it's an economics system, but also it's very much a software system, right? It's a software project. So those are my two interests, and also why I'm super interested in Bitcoin and crypto, the crypto space as a whole. And I became really like convinced of Bitcoin Cash when I found out kind of the truth about the block size debate and the Bitcoin history, and how since 2014, so before I was involved, there was a new vision introduced uh, by actually a rather small group of I would say intellectuals or like people who were leading the discussions. And when I found out like that the information that I've gotten up to that point from influencers like Andreas Antonopoulos and educators, that this was missing a critical piece, namely the block size debate, and also that the vision for Bitcoin was changed from the original founding vision by Satoshi. That's kind of when I became really determined to help spread this word, but also make a dent in in the project and actually make a difference and contribute to Bitcoin Cash and help it become a success. So that's kind of how I became. Because I think if you have the feeling that you were lied to or misled, um, then once you find out, this is a strong motivator to and this made me become really determined to help build on Bitcoin Cash and to make it win. And there's still quite a way to go, but we've already also come quite far. So that's kind of a broad introduction from my end.
That's a great introduction. Thank you so much. And yeah, still a long way to go, but we have come so far. The technology has really advanced a tremendous amount since first releasing all those years ago. It's crazy how long Bitcoin's actually been in the world now. Just thinking over the last 3 or 4 years alone, the development that's happened on Bitcoin Cash has been quite exceptional, which we'll go into a bit later. But it's quite clear that other members of the other forks of Bitcoin are more aware of this. That Bitcoin Cash is on the technical front pulling quite way ahead there. And I like what you say, you want to make a dent in this. And I think that you made more than a dent for Bitcoin Cash. I think you've absolutely been integral to steering it. And I like to think, with time travel, when people think about going back in time, everyone, there's the paradox complexes, and you don't want to change this tiny little thing because that tiny little thing could mean that you don't longer exist in the future and so forth. And I see that exactly all the work that's happening today. Even the smaller work, it sends ripples out, and those ripples will change the absolute fabric of society in the future. It's very difficult to say exactly when. If it's in 5 years or 10 years or 30 years. But one thing's for sure is that there's not a little ripple you're doing today. But for sure, it's that whatever the effect that this work you're doing today, it's going to be a tsunami at some point in the future. So yeah, great introduction. Yeah, so
Yeah, so I want to pick in. I want to pick in on that point
yes,
because I like that. So kind of the butterfly effect. But I
exactly.
also just see Bitcoin as a very long term project. So it's not something because people already try to assess whether it succeeded or failed from the first 10 years, for example, or now the coming up the first 20 years. Satoshi said either it will be very big or it will no longer exist. But I really see it as on a much larger time horizon, especially with the setbacks with the block size debate. It's really a multi-generational project. So that's also encouraging when the engineering discussions are about like long-term planning and where do we see this over the long run. How do we make sure that there's not a lot of technical debt in the protocol. So we don't only think about the present and not only about the next year and the next 2 years, but really about a very long-term lifespan of this protocol and this project and how it will evolve, not only in our when we are involved, but many generations even after us. So yeah, that's the way I kind of think about this.
And that's a lovely way of thinking about it. Multi-generational project. And this is something when speaking to BCH developer Jason Drazener, he said something kind of similar along these lines. And it's a really, I think it's a signal to what BCH community and the kind of people that are working on BCH are thinking about. This isn't a get rich quick scheme. This is a transformational technology that is designed to fundamentally uh, change the world, but in a positive way, and to offer a complete paradigm shift in how people see money and are interacting with each other financially on quite a wide level. And it might be, the greatest men plant the trees that they never experience the shade of that. And if that's the case, then so be. But our children will live in a much better and freer, more liberal society because of all the work that is being done here. And it also, that you can see that in the development of everything that's happening in BCH, we're not just building something to make that works for today, but it's setting that entire infrastructure so that it's working for generations of people without all that technical debt, which is why it's so exciting to be part of this. And yeah,
Yeah, and then one more thought that is related to this. I also don't think that the protocol will be finished in 1 year or 2 years or 5 years because, yeah, these things just are not finished if they're multi-generational projects. Sure, the change will not, the amount of change will, it will become also a bit harder to change, and you will not be making as big changes when time goes on. But definitely, I don't think the protocol will ever be set in stone. For example, popular programming languages like JavaScript that many developers use, they are also still evolving. Yeah, when you think about the internet and the IP systems, IPv4, those are also still evolving. If you there's like everything is always still evolving and being improved. And I think this is also true for the consensus layer, even more so, of course, for the other layers. If you think about the node software itself, of course, they could re-architect the whole thing with how the database works for the UTXO set and the mempool and networking improvements. So of course that will be keep on improving for as long as Bitcoin Cash exists. But also the protocol itself, I think we will keep finding optimizations, missing things to make it more expressive, new IDs. So I definitely I don't think it will ever be finished if we just get one more feature. And a point related to this, I don't also think we will ever be too big to do another hard fork, because Ethereum is undeniably a few orders of magnitude bigger than us, but they are still managed to do. I think they have an upcoming hard fork upgrade in a few months. So called Pectra or something. But just to illustrate the point that even if we grow a lot, we will still be able to coordinate on upgrades. It's really a rather small group of people who is involved enough to care to spec out these improvements, to discuss this. The vast majority of people, as long as there's no controversy around any of the suggested upgrades, they don't need to be fully informed or fully aware of what's going on at the consensus layer. So yeah, that's some of my thoughts on the long run of the project.
Yeah, no, I think raises some really good points. I'm very aligned with that, and yeah, I think someone made a comparison. I think it was, if I remember correctly, Bitcoin Cash Artist, was linking it to Linux, and I think this is kind of an interesting idea of, Linux originally started in 1991. And it was an ongoing project, and it kept on being developed. But I would say that Linux really experiences glory days over the last few years. We've seen an explosion of Linux, also not just outside of servers, but also in the mainstream. And because the right products, the right end user products have come out, utilizing and leveraging the Linux OS. The latest, biggest one being SteamOS. So now you've got game consoles running on this, and that, so it's exploded into the mainstream and usage. And thinking of something like Bitcoin Cash is sort of, you can see something, some parallels there. Open source project that keeps on being built and improved upon, iterated up until the point that is actually a truly a viable system that is better in all the important metrics, and significantly better than alternatives and centralized alternatives. And that's when then the mainstream switch comes. But what I'd like to do, though, is just to challenge some thoughts there a little bit, because I agree that I think that the project will never be done. But what I do also think is, of course, changing the protocol today of BCH must be significantly easier due to its size. And of course, no speed should be taken in here, no haste should be put in. Everything should be very, very well thought out to stop the technical debt that you mentioned earlier, and to make sure that this is really, any developments thought about in a multi-generational thought process. But at that point where the mainstream usage explodes, and we have theoretically several billion people using BCH, I think, as you say, doing updates will not be impossible, but I imagine it will take many years, maybe even decades, to get consensus on changing such a fundamental and important technology such as money for the world. What's your takes on that?
Yeah, so I don't fully agree, because, for example, I gave JavaScript as an example. So, of course, JavaScript runs in everybody's browser. So whether you're using Chrome or Firefox or something else, they run the whole system to the runtime to run JavaScript. And JavaScript, it's a programming language, and still new features get added to this programming language. I think every year or every few years, there's a new proposals which get accepted into the language. So not only do all browsers need to update, also all other JavaScript runtimes, because JavaScript can also run on the server. So there's multiple projects that just have the virtual machine for JavaScript, which also need to update. And this all needs to be coordinated, because you don't want that in one browser a feature works and in another browser a feature doesn't work. And so there's a lot of coordination going on. But everyone wants to standardize on the same thing. So there's official committees which do a lot of the technical research and discussion. And so I see parallels to Bitcoin Cash, because we, similar to how the browsers enable apps, we blockchains also enable applications. And so we're kind of, we want to become an app chain as Bitcoin Cash. That's how I see it. And so of course, if you want to change the consensus layer, that's kind of, or specifically talking about the virtual machine, because many of our recent upgrades have been focused around this virtual machine. That's kind of like upgrading JavaScript. So the most important thing is that you don't break existing applications. Bitcoin Cash artist has also said this repeatedly with the mantra of Linux: we don't break user space. But if you add a new opcode or a new functionality, a new way to do things, that doesn't affect all the existing things. So you mainly need to prove that it's safe, that it's worth adding this extra thing on top, that it's not too much technical debt and maintenance. But if you can introduce something new that's positive for a whole wide range of applications, maybe that's even been requested a lot over the years, so there's evidence that there's demand for this, then the coordination between the different node softwares is really something that doesn't affect the end user at all. So just like we have today, where there is a schedule with ChipNet that gets activated 6 months in advance, so developers are already playing around with the new VM limits for months, and can already test their software and everything, or start building their new applications. Maybe at scale, we even lengthen this process, or it becomes with many more stakeholders. But overall, for end users, there is really no effect. So I don't think, even if we grow orders of magnitude, that will become impossible to upgrade or anything like it, because there's much bigger systems in the world, like JavaScript, which still do upgrade and which also run over a bunch of different systems and places, runtimes. So coordination is key, and planning, of course.
Right. Yeah, no, I like the thoughts. I would argue that money will be infinitely more important than JavaScript, as well versed, as well used as JavaScript is in the industry. But absolutely take your point, and no, I'm aligned that definitely in agreement there that the base money. I can't imagine that anyone in this world could imagine all the usages that will be required for money and finance, and even I'm sure in 1,000 years, should the reign of BCH be that long, that there'll be new things to add, and it'll be possible to adapt that uh, as a continuously progressing project. So, yeah, here's the first question for you, Matthew. To do with BCH specifically, is why, out of all the, who knows how many cryptos out there, to be honest, I guess no one knows anymore. Out of the insane number of cryptocurrencies that are available to the market today, why Bitcoin Cash?
Yeah, so Bitcoin Cash definitely has a unique origin story. So because many people, me included, think it's important how money initially gets created and distributed. Like, how did the initial coins get into circulations? And it's common to accept that Bitcoin was the most fair launch today. Of course, you had other ideas like ICOs, but which could be argued to be equal access to some extent. But there's also projects which do pre-mines, or which clearly are just to get the founders rich, and which VCs invest in. But the Bitcoin project was relatively, was kind of fair in this regard. And Bitcoin Cash, it's directly, because there was a fork, and everybody who held money at this moment in time just had coins on two sides. Everyone who held one Bitcoin had one Bitcoin Cash. So I think this lineage, at least to me, is also important. But also the fact that Bitcoin is such a very well thought out system. It's immensely well designed. Like, it's an awesome system, it's a very solid foundation. But then, as we all know, it didn't. There wasn't a vision for it to live up to its potential. And I think that's how in Bitcoin Cash we look at ourselves, is that we carry on this original vision, but we want to realize its full potential. And of course, this pitch is easier when we were at number 5 in the coin market cap rather than number 25. So I think that definitely should be one of our main goals, to clearly demonstrate that we are relevant because we are one of the biggest. but I think, yeah, the technology, the fundamentals, they're all there, and then the fact that we have a network effect and a community with a right mindset, so they're really focused on peer-to-peer electronic cash. There's a few other communities, maybe the Monero community or Zcash, but you can count them on one hand. So it's really limited. The internet communities or the projects that still mainly care about becoming used as a money and becoming the money for the world. So that would be my answer to why Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah, that's a good answer. And yeah, the fair dispersion of the money is very, very critical. And yeah, this is something that is certainly puts me off any new projects because it's very often a pre-mine, and you end up with this centralized start, centralized wealth, centralized development team, which yeah is not the greatest start, I'd say, for world money. Yeah, okay, that's a lot of things there. A lot of good reasons to be in Bitcoin Cash. You mentioned also that um, for getting sort of people interested, so being in the top five helps greatly, and by market cap. So I don't know where Bitcoin Cash is today. I think on Coin Market Cap we're about 23. Last I looked, but of course it changes. It changes every day. What do you see is the biggest chance, the biggest area of focus to achieve that in yeah to achieve that, and when do you think is realistic to achieve that, to see Bitcoin Cash enter again, the sort of the top 10 or even the top 5 on the coin market cap, and what activities is it that you think is going to be getting Bitcoin Cash there?
Yeah, so how I look at it is money has incredible network effects, right? So it's even more so than social media. But to give the analogy with social media is, of course, everybody wants, if you make a social media, you want to be on the social media where everybody else is on, right? You don't want to be on some niche network where none of your friends are and none of your contacts, because the point of social media, of course, is to interact with others, to be social. Um, and similar with money, if you have money, the goal is to use it for something. Even if you save, that just spending at a delayed time, you defer spending right now for spending at a later point, even maybe spending for your children, but at least it will be, the goal is to spend it at some point, right? Because otherwise you could as well
Right.
just burn the money, or lock it in a safe and forget how to access it. So the goal is definitely to spend it. So to be able to spend it, you need someone else to take it in for goods or services, so you can actually buy a product. But yeah, so the difficulty is it's all about network effect. And right now we don't have a lot of network effect, especially not in physical commerce. So physical commerce for me has an inherent disadvantage. So the internet community at least is global. So if I want to buy, for example, a VPN or a domain name, or I want to rent a server, then there's many businesses that do this because it's on the internet and there's a large demand for these services. So notice that they're all digital, and some of them privacy focused. So I think that's some of our strongest markets that we can compete in. And yeah, so these products, VPN, domain names, there's many offers, so I can easily look up which of these ones accept Bitcoin Cash and just buy from them, even if the price isn't the best, or just because I prefer to buy with Bitcoin Cash over something else, and I don't want to have my credit card and link my information or whatever. So having Bitcoin Cash is like, and that's for me, just also personally speaking, this is how I have made decisions, right? If I want to buy games, I look where I can, for example, buy Steam credits with Bitcoin Cash, or if you want to buy a VPN or a domain name. So I think in internet commerce, things like this, for digital products, we have a very good very good case to make that we're already as cryptocurrency better than the existing systems. And also for the community, it's easier to pitch this than a restaurant somewhere that accepts Bitcoin Cash, because I probably don't live where the restaurant is, right? But if a new internet an internet commerce site which offers digital products, then I could easily buy this. So also this is one of the reasons why NFTs had appeal, because it's a digital product, it's a digital image, and anyone can buy this in the world. So there is no limiting factor in this regard, that you don't need to be in the same place as with brick and mortar stores. So that's one aspect. That's the commerce on the internet. And then the second aspect in my mind is we want to be an app chain. We want to be an application-based chain. So similar to how browsers and the web has all these applications, and you really see an explosion. And even though that JavaScript was kind of a shitty language, it became like the dominant language, the dominant programming language in the world, simply because the web was such a powerful platform, a platform for applications. It's the same way I see blockchain or Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash specifically. It's we're kind of like a platform where we can build apps on. We have our own virtual machine, which is a scripting language, and we want to see many applications. And not only scripting applications count, also other, for example, the blogging platform Read.Cash or a fifth of gaming, for example. Those are also using cryptocurrency, and also, in my mind, part of these applications on our app chain. But the tightest integration is with script-based applications with smart contracts, because they take advantage of what Bitcoin Cash does best, namely removing custody and removing trust. So going towards a more trustless and non-custodial system. And those are like the selling points of Bitcoin Cash. So I think it makes sense to fully take advantage of this. And that's also how I see DEXs, right? With DEXs, you remove the custody of a normal centralized exchange and you remove the trust. So that's a very strong selling point, because as we all know, in cryptocurrency, many exchanges go bankrupt or have the founder disappear or die, but then they might not really be dead, but just
lots of boating accidents.
Yeah. So so to kind of summarize, I think we have a very strong case for commerce on the internet for digital products, privacy products, but then even more so, I think we want to become an app chain focused on applications, and this is the opposite of what you sometimes hear, that a certain chain might be a ghost chain, namely that there's no applications and no livelihood or no people using it. So we definitely want a chain that has a lot of activity, but specifically activity with applications building on top of the chain. So this includes both smart contract applications as well as other non-smart contract applications. But in my mind, these have it a little harder. And you can just take a look empirically at what has done well in Bitcoin Cash. Both on the smart contract side, I would point at AnyHedge and BCH Bull. And then if you take a look at Read.Cash or some of these other tightly integrated BCH products, they often had a more difficult time finding product market fit, where I think removing trust and offering non-custodial solutions is really where we kind of shine, where we have are at our strongest with the application layer and the Bitcoin Cash virtual machine.
Yeah, okay, so be an app chain. This is one of the way we can drive Bitcoin Cash back into the top 10, back into the top 5, to be able to get a lot more mind share to grow that network effect. And we'll come to you, of course. We'll come to CashScript and how you're helping that, and how you're helping the next wave of builders, of developers to create their apps. But do you just to end that? Do you have a sort of time frame where you see in your mind that you would like to see that happen, or you think it will happen? That Bitcoin Cash gets back into either the top 10 or the top 5, or is it more of something that you're just building towards it and it comes where it comes?
Yeah, so I think predictions are inherently difficult, especially because I don't see it as a linear path at all, right? So we need some kind of critical mass and enough momentum, and then things can go very rapidly. If you take a look at, you can take a look at the meme coin craze on Solana, or when Ethereum was booming with their ICO or with their NFTs. You need a kind of niche, something you excel at, and once you find a kind of product market fit in with a certain regard, you can grow very quickly because users will automatically be attracted. Instead of you having to convince them, like you have to care about it. No, they will automatically care and they will ask you, how can I use this? Or can you please onboard me? Explain to me how I can be involved. This is a much nicer position instead of having to do the work to convince someone that somebody is already convinced, but wants just the practical information of how to start using it, how to be part of the network. So I think we're definitely on an exponential, but it matters a lot where we get this uptick, right? And that's also why I believe tooling is very important, like with CashScript, because it, in my mind, it can really make a difference where we see this kind of inflection point, where we start taking off and where people find a use case that is not specific to one app, but a broader trend, similar to how we had the ICO phase or how we had NFT projects or how we had decentralized stable coins. So I hope we see a similar trend in one specific area for Bitcoin Cash, and that we will excel in this and find product market fit. And then I think the users will come in droves like we haven't seen on Bitcoin Cash before.
Looking forward to when that happens. So a good point to sort of move on to that. So CashScript, this is one of the things that you're mentioning, some of the tooling that is that has been developed and is in continuous development to help help builders on Bitcoin Cash and help entrepreneurs sort of unleash their ideas using smart contracts. Maybe you could go a bit. So just imagine here that the audience doesn't know anything about CashScript. What is CashScript? What does it do? How are you involved with it? And how does this unlock the potential of Bitcoin Cash?
Yeah, thanks. So how I would describe it is, Bitcoin Cash has a programming language, a virtual machine, and the programming language is with opcodes, but this is like assembly, so it's very difficult to reason about and very difficult for programmers to write because it's like writing CPU instructions hand by hand. So and an example of a simple contract that people will know is multisig. So multisig is just you need a threshold of signatures. For example, 2 of the 3 signatures need to sign before your transaction is valid. Well, this is actually a script. So this is not like hard-coded. This is not a template that kind of the node developers decided upon, but this is a general construction that you can create with this programming language. Another popular idea, but hasn't seen much use in practice, is the idea of faults, where you are kind of immune to attacks, the $5 range attack, where people just threaten you with physical violence to steal your cryptocurrency. So with a vault, this would protect you because you don't have just one set of keys where you can access your money at any time. You would kind of have a staging area. So you would have a vault where you potentially keep your large savings. But then your spending account would be different from this, and you can only have some limit, similar to how you can on your normal spending bank account, have a limit where only a maximum limit can be withdrawn, and so transactions could first have to go to this staging area before they are completed. So it would also protect you from being hacked and getting all your money stolen, for example, because with vaults, this just protects the user. So once you are starting to think about these more complex applications than just holding money in your wallet, so whether it be vaults, multisigs, dexes, stable coins, there's really, the sky is the limit. There's so many possibilities that you can look at Ethereum for an idea, but really even there, they are only just, they are still very much experimenting. So we want to enable this with easy tooling for developers. And so this tooling comes in 2 parts. First of all, you need a high-level programming language. So we don't want to write with opcodes in a stack where you need to think kind of about memory management. We don't want that. So we want something that looks and feels like the modern programming languages with curly braces and syntax that people will recognize from Solidity or JavaScript. And then secondly, you don't only want a high-level language, but you also want a toolkit. So once I have this high-level language for writing my contract, all right, that's just the opcodes. It's only one part of a transaction. But how do I actually build the transaction with this broadcast is on the network? How do I assemble the in and outputs? How do I debug if my transaction doesn't work? Which part of the script is not working? And this is all part of our SDK, our software development toolkit. And this is all written in TypeScript, so accessible for JavaScript and TypeScript developers. And it's really those two that are coming together, because this means that you can create smart contract applications from start to finish. First, with a high-level language, write your script so you can create a non-custodial or trustless solution to a certain problem, but then also have this toolkit available so you can easily debug, create a testing framework, create transactions, have a wallet connected up on the internet, so it all runs in the browser. This becomes easy with the whole toolkit. And what we're currently doing, we're working on this debugging aspect that I mentioned. This makes CashScript unique along all the smart contracting attempts or languages for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin has had one project, Ivy, that was kind of the first high-level smart contract language for Bitcoin. And then, of course, there was the split. And then the first smart contracting language that we saw for Bitcoin Cash was called Spedden. And this saw some initial success. And then CashScript came along and existed next to Spedden. But CashScript really tried to be always innovative together with the Bitcoin Cash upgrade. So it was the first to add native introspection, the first to add cash tokens. But now with the debugging tooling, we have kind of the best smart contract tooling in the whole industry with regards to Bitcoin-like chains. So with UTXO chains, because some of the BSV developers, they also have developed their own high-level language. It's called CashScript. But similarly, CashScript is great, and it's good that it exists and serves as another outlet of experimentation. But none of these have the debugging capabilities necessary. And many developers will know writing your code is only one aspect, because once you start running into issues, that's actually where the bulk of your time is spent. And so CashScript makes it really easy to say, okay, just this line is where your issue is, and it's because of this. And you can add console log statements, so print statements like you would see in Python or JavaScript. So you can really just follow along what your steps are doing and why, for example, your last check is failing. And you can simply see why, for example, two elements are not equal because you made a mistake in the line above. So this makes development much easier, and it abstracts much of the complexities around contract development. So that's our goal, and we're starting to achieve this because we cannot keep up with all the new CashScript projects that are being built, or projects leveraging CashScript. We do have a showcase on the website, which we now regularly can extend with new projects. Like, for example, Moria is one that we added recently to the showcase. So we're always proud if we can add something there and display what others are using our tooling for.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I would introduce CashScript.
Yeah, you sold that pretty well. So you're selling it as really like this is the most advanced tooling on UTXO that's available.
Yeah, exactly. And also, just recently, I've been very excited to extend CashScript and to make it even better, because the project is now more than 5 years old, and yeah, it has seen some more usage and more feedback, more people getting involved. Recently, we had 3 outside contributors making PRs and adding features. So it's becoming difficult almost for Roscoe and I to keep up. So hopefully at some point in the future, we'll actually grow the team so we can move even faster. And of course, what we want to move fast, but also we want to move very carefully, because this is infrastructure that, as we said before, deals with people's money. And not just that, the smart contract aspects are rather complex, and people can create. So we want to be a solid foundation for people to build on. So have a solid testing to make sure that we have covered all possible edge cases and things like that.
Yeah, okay, cool. Great. I've got a Fiendish shout out here. So for everyone listening, you can spend Fiendish Emerald. So this is a cash token on the BCH chain, and 100,000 of them gets a Fiendish shout out live on air. And this one's from the Bitcoin Cash podcast. BCH is so far ahead of the competition in regards to protocol dev, node diversity, dev tooling, and soon wallets as well. And I guess this question is to you, Mathieu. How do we get some more resource allocation into the app layer that will drive user demand? Thanks, BCH podcast. So, Mathieu.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think one thing is that it needs to be clear what can be built that is likely profitable, right? So developers, if they want to create a project on their own, they're looking at, okay, what can I create that I know will have users, that I know can earn me some extra money. So it has the potential to be big. The other aspect is, if we have big companies, then they can just hire the developers. So then the developers don't need to be entrepreneurs. But to have these companies, either they need to be BCH specific companies, similar to general protocols, or they can be, of course, multi-chain companies. But then our appeal has to be even greater, because they're developing on multiple chains. And how many users does Bitcoin Cash have compared to
Mathieu, can you hear me? David, can I get you up here? Okay, you can hear me. Fantastic. Or can anyone listening, can you give a thumbs up if you can hear Mathieu? Or give a thumbs down if you couldn't hear Mathieu. Good to speak. So inviting Mathieu back on to speak. For some reason, he's been pushed down to a listener. Having some issues today with Twitter, with X Spaces. It's a good thing about having a recording, is we can just cut this all up and make it look like it was just a flowing conversation without any technical hiccups whatsoever. Hey, there we go. I can hear you loud and clear. Yeah, this is actually the most technical issues we've had. So I'm not sure what's going on there. But yeah, it just seemed that you dropped out from the speaker. You were kicked off.
Yeah, very weird. Let's hope it continues to work as it is now.
Okay, let's try.
So did I respond to your question or not? Because otherwise I need to do another take.
It was half of it, and then it just cut. I would say maybe the last couple of sentences that you had there. So for everyone that's listening, the question was, how do we get some more resource allocations into the app layer that is going to drive user demand?
Yeah, so I think we, as the builders in Bitcoin Cash, the programmers, need to demonstrate that we can create profitable businesses. And we need to, first, the Bitcoin Cash community and Bitcoin Cash builders, we need to be entrepreneurial and create our own companies and create our own projects. And once it becomes clear to everyone else that those guys are onto something and they are growing very fast and they are making money, then the rest will follow automatically almost. So then it becomes organic. But you first need that bottom up from within the community. So I think it's on us, similar to how we see, for example, the Cauldron guys, the Rift and Labs team. They're coming up with some really cool protocols and applications, and they're getting more and more users and getting some traction. So I think we need more applications and examples like this that people can point to and say, see all those cool things on Bitcoin Cash. So it really is a combination of, first we have to develop a few of our own demonstration applications, and these need to become big enough to actually be noticed. And then they also need the user base also needs to become more developed, because we saw the introduction of a lot of new things with CashTokens and Wallet Connect, and those are not really widely supported, and new things also for users to learn. So I think we also need to develop this user base, so more people are using CashTokens enabled wallets like Sabit and Cashonize and Paytaka, and that users also understand these new borrowing protocols, for example, that users are involved and understand how to use Wallet Connect. So it really is a two-front effort, I would say, to create applications and to build the user base, and those need to happen kind of simultaneously. But also a lot of these efforts will be done by the first applications. So these first apps like Cauldron, they have an extra hard time because they don't alone have to develop the application with this new tooling, but they also have to foster this initial user base, and that's a hard job on both fronts. So
Yeah. Okay. So what I hear, there's two aspects of this: is building the apps and then get the users. And I see there very much that there's a linkage, of course. So if you have the people, so people within the BCH ecosystem, taking what you said there, to create their own companies, build their own enterprises, deliver their own products. That are exciting, that they can basically generate value for the user. And this in itself, this proves to people outside that, hey, there's something going on, and there's something viable. But of course, that act in itself, if there's value being offered, then people will also move to Bitcoin Cash. So it's that's the solution here, is to how to grow that network effect and the resource allocation. So getting more resource allocation to app layer that will drive up user demand. So you mentioned that, but like we should be starting companies in the BCH community. We should start, work together. And I couldn't be more aligned with this. If possible, there's a lot of great people out there, a lot of great, interesting products, the novel products already, and I think that the more that people sort of use those great ideas and start pairing them with entrepreneurialism, so they are offering value, they are being used, but maybe they're not generating an income, a revenue stream. And I think that's something that's very important. I think that, I really think that more people within the Bitcoin Cash community should leverage their ideas to generate revenue, so they can sustain their activities. But it's also the best signal to the outside market that Bitcoin Cash is the chain that they should be working on, because, hey, look, these guys, they're doing this, they're working on the chain of their dreams, and they're able to keep the lights on and live life just doing what they love doing because they're earning revenue. And I think
yeah,
today the best example of that is General Protocols on BCH, right?
yeah, definitely.
We need more then.
Yeah, so this is kind of the strongest signal, right? If you just tell someone else, maybe a company that's already building on other chains and other cryptocurrency projects, if you just say, "Oh, BCH is interesting, you should build there," it's like a very weak signal, right? It's not costly at all. It didn't take any effort to create it. So there's a lot of noise in this signal space, right? Everyone says build a mine chain is best, and there's all kind of reasons or excuses. But costly signals is actually doing the hard work to put together a company, get together a team, create the product, build a user base, become profitable. This whole journey is super hard. And then if you have this profitable company that has users, that speaks more loudly than 1,000 tweets recommending you to build on this chain or that chain, because it's just a cheap signal. So I think the hard things are the things that are worth doing. So the things which are very easy, they might also be worth doing, but they of course they're very easy, so they will have very little impact compared to getting a team together, building a product, getting users, becoming profitable. That has a very bigger impact than pretty much anything else that
Yeah.
can be done.
Yeah, for sure. And I like the mention of tweeting there. So I think like overall, so if people aren't involved in those projects, they can of course be helping with marketing. You're absolutely right though. It's low signal overall. And it's also basically it's short term because if BCH all of a sudden had 100,000 people screaming at the roof about how amazing it was, of course the price might go up. And then what happens then? It comes back down again. So that's not a sustainable model. It's not actually really helping the chain. Whereas doing that hard work, as you say, okay, it doesn't have that impact at the start because the product needs to be delivered first. But the end result is much more value. And what I like about that too, just thinking about, so for me, like a tweeting or any sort of messaging about Bitcoin Cash, it's clearly marketing. It's a marketing front. And of course, it's good when people who don't know what else to offer and sending a quick tweet and in your lunch break or whatever. Uh, this or just before you go to bed. It can help. It's very small amount of help, but it can help put some marketing efforts on it. But it's nowhere near as impactful as when a company that's earning money is earning revenue can market itself, because that marketing will be much more targeted.
Mm-hmm.
It's to the right market, because that's the whole point of free markets, right? If they're not targeting the right market, it's a waste of money and then they don't get the return of investment. And so that means it's much more self-sustainable. And so I think that when those apps, again, thinking of general protocols, thinking of BCH Bull, they're invested to promote their product because more users, more money for them. And of course, indirectly, that's advertising the chain and getting more people interested in Bitcoin Cash. So this absolutely aligned there, and this seems very logical, the best way for Bitcoin Cash to move forward.
Yeah, so I think this is one aspect where we still need to do better. So I hope to see more companies, more startups, and more entrepreneurial initiative from the existing BCH people or influencers or anyone involved essentially, to get together, think about what it is you really want to build, what you want to exist to in 2 years, in maybe even 5 years. So try to zoom out and try to actually build organizations and teams and knowledge to make this possible. um,
Yeah, I've got a question for you, Mathieu. And of course, you're someone that has added huge amounts to the ecosystem. So don't see this as an attack, but it's a question I think is very interesting. So you've spent a lot of work on building tools and infrastructure to help Bitcoin Cash. Like, for sure has value, but using what you said, is that it'd be really important for people in Bitcoin Cash communities to come together, to form enterprises, to form businesses, to release products that are successful, um, to help grow that market, to help grow user base, and so forth. Is there anything that you're involved in that sort of meets that criterion, and anything you can talk about that?
Yeah, so I'm still in the preparation phase. So I'm definitely, this is on my mind because it's something I am pursuing myself. But it's too early to delve into specifics. I'll just say that it's something that I've been working on for the couple of months at least. But it will be, it will be public when it's public. So yeah, stay tuned, I guess.
Stay tuned. All right, I'm looking forward to this. I can only imagine what you've got to offer us. We've got this someone see David Shattuck is listening, and David Shattuck has AFOG, so a fifth of gaming, and this is also someone that's created their own venture in the space using Bitcoin Cash in the ecosystem. So it's great to see that there are entrepreneurs listening right now, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what Matthew, what you have to offer. Um, so okay, so you've talked about Cashionise. Sorry, no, we haven't talked about Cashionise. No, of course not. We've been talking about CashScript. one of the projects you've been spending a lot of time working on is Cashonize, a web wallet. As I understand, it has Cash Connect integrated now, or has had for quite some time. So the more advanced version of Wallet Connect. Yeah, maybe you could just talk about Cashonize. Like, where does this fit into your grand picture? What does it offer for people that are listening? And why should they go and test this out now? Maybe with certain dexes.
Yeah, so it would be cool if people haven't tried it out, take a look. But I'll discuss what it is. 1 second. So Cashonize is my Bitcoin Cash wallet with Cash token support and with Wallet Connect. I didn't intend to become a wallet developer, but when Cash Tokens was around the corner, I saw that nobody was taking initiative to actually pioneer this effort. So I thought, what is a better way than to take initiative myself and start building. And now we have, I think, 4 or 5 Cash Tokens wallets. But so I'm proud to say that Cashonize was the first Cash Tokens wallet in the whole world. And it has come a long way since then. So in the beginning, it was more of a demo. It was more of a technical minimum viable product, so just a prototype. But now it's really just an end user product. There was one feature which had been requested for the longest time, to have a nice history view, so you can see, which is normal, of course, in a payment app, that you can see your history of things you paid and when you received money. And that's since the last update. That's also part of Cashonize. So I would say it has all the essential features now. There's still some room for polish, but I think wallets shouldn't be too exciting. Probably they as an application that users often use. And they're mainly for interacting with apps, paying, receiving money. But I don't want, like, the vision I have for Cashonize is not to build too many things into the wallet. It's mainly that the things that it does them super well. So there's definitely still room for polish. And I think one of the things that I like Cashonize a lot for is the token view. And it's very easy to, for example, manage your NFTs, send all NFTs to a different wallet, or to inspect the NFT images, or if you have received some fungible tokens, for example, some MUSD, then you can easily click this icon button, this icon information icon, and then you will see some extra information about the token. So it makes it very easy to read the description, and also a link to the token explorer. So it's kind of integrated. So if you want to know more statistics about the number of holders of a certain token, you can do one click inside Cashonize to have this extra information, or to be redirected to the token explorer. So I find this very helpful, and I would also say Cashonize has come this far. It's just my personal project, so it's one developer, but because I'm an active user of it myself. So if any new features get added, then you can be sure that I have used this myself, and I have tested this and made sure that it works as intended. So yeah, that's Cashonize.
That's the best way of doing it, though, isn't it? If you're not using your own product, if you're developing it, you're going to go off on some wonky ways of what you think how it should be used. Yeah, so Cashonize is something that everyone should check out. So Cashonize, we just check, cashonize.com, just making sure it's not cash. And yeah, the BCMR token explorer. So this is linked to Cashonize, but I understand. Are you you're the main developer behind this, or is this work that you're collaborating with?
Yeah, the Token Explorer is also a personal project, and I just it was suggested to me to link those two, and I thought it was a nice suggestion. So now they're kind of integrated a bit. From Cashonize, you can easily link and find this extra information on the Token Explorer. So
Yeah, and this has obviously been very successful. So BCH is only decks that I'm aware of. Cauldron, they when you click on the token So if you go in to have a look on the token, then I'm just checking to make sure that this is still the case. Token Explorer is under info. Yeah. And then it will jump to Mathieu's tokenexplorer.cash website. And then you get all the information about the particular the token, the Genesis supply, the decimals. So I like this now. So before, the decimals weren't taken into account on the Genesis supplies. So if you had two decimals, for example, it would look like there was two orders of magnitude more tokens than there were. So this has been something that was released in an update several months back. Very, very nice. Circulating supply is there, reserve supply. The only thing that's been removed in that last update, which this is a really nice update, nice features, like especially like the number of wallets, or the addresses rather, that are holding Fiend in this case. I was just looking up the Fiendish token, but the number of burnt tokens was removed in the last update because of some complexities. Is there any idea, any ETA when that will be coming back so we can view the number of burned tokens?
I don't have a specific timeline for that, but I'll try to prioritize it now that you bring it up. Also nice to see that Cauldron also has an integration with Token Explorer. So I wasn't even aware of that. So thank you for bringing that to my attention.
Wow, there you go. So there's a clear indicator that, Matthew, you need to get your ass onto Cauldron. You need to check it out a bit more. You need to go and invest in some meme coins because they're all going to the moon. Yeah. Um, yeah, so thinking about so Cashonize and the Token Explorer, I guess you have some insight here into usage. I guess these websites can monitor how many sort of active users you have, or and yeah, from your perspective, like how is that developing? Was it a big bump at the start and it's tailing, or is it a slow growing ecosystem?
Yeah, so for Cashonize, it's quite steady. I have around 100 daily users, so that's unique daily users.
Hmm,
Um, yeah, which is definitely not bad. But I
definitely
haven't
not.
seen a lot of growth recently. So that's one thing I'm hoping in 2025 that I can improve over the year. But it's likely an ecosystem effort, right? So people will be using their wallet more if there's interesting applications and things like that, or if they want to mint an interesting new NFT project, or they want to use the Cauldron DEX. Um, and the token explorer is a bit more niche. I think 15 or 20 people per day would already be on a good day. So it's not as large as Cashonize, but indeed it gives some indication of how much these sites are used.
I'm definitely one of those people, so I can say.
And also, of course, if people use like privacy extensions and stuff, then they're not tracked at all. So they're not in the statistics. So with cryptocurrency, that might actually be half or so of the users. I'm not sure.
Okay, that's interesting. I wasn't aware of that. I thought that even though you may not be able to detect where they're coming from, that you would still detect the activity that they're on the website.
Yeah, so there's different ways to build analytics, and how I do it. I use a thing called Plausible. So it's a little script that runs inside your. It's a little, but so browser extensions can recognize that you are using this external script, so they might automatically block it. Um, so the
Ah.
reason for this is I don't host my own servers. If you host your own servers, then you can build analytics on a level lower, so you can get, for each time a request comes in, you can log these requests. But I do it one level higher, and this is also why plugins or browser extensions may be able to cancel these requests. And but yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, makes sense. The other website platform that you created for the Cash Tokens ecosystem was Tokenaut.cash. So this is, I have to admit, this is a site that I use very, very rarely. So this is showcasing the NFTs projects in the cash token space. So I see there the Cash Ninjas. You've got place 5. That's also one of your projects. Yeah. So how much usage are you seeing on token or on NFTs? Is this something that is growing, or is this similar sort of steady transactions?
Yeah, for Tokenaut, it varies a lot. So you mentioned that it's not a website that you visit often. Well, for me personally, I visit it a lot. So that's also, again, why I created it. I like to see, for example, as you said, with the Cash Ninjas or the Reapers, yeah, how many are out there on the Bitcoin Cash chain. And some of these other projects like Punk Apes, and they're actually bridged from Smart BCH. So it's really cool for me to see, and the first summons also we bridge those to see how many NFTs have been bridged. And here I can in one screen find a comparison of all these different projects, and you also can click on them again for more information. So it's a bit similar in this respect, I guess, to the Token Explorer, but then specifically one page for NFTs, and then also a page for DeFi and all the different dApps. So the reason why I created this is not I didn't want it to be only about NFTs, because NFTs are also limited in how interesting they are. But then to have an overview of different DeFi projects and all the different dApps, even if they're not finance related, like some of the privacy things like Cash Shuffle and Cash Fusion, or some of the plugins like Last Will and Mecenas. So some of the older projects, they're all in the dApps list. So I think this is a handy overview for people to just see what smart contract kind of things have been created on Bitcoin Cash. So yeah, of course, in my mind, I'm focused on the contract use cases a lot. So I think it's cool to have something like this to show off, and then it has support for Wallet Connect, or whether it's open source. So if you're looking for, yeah, if you're just browsing around to learn more about the ecosystem, then you can easily filter the Wallet Connect applications, and then you see there's currently 10 Wallet Connect applications listed on Tokenaut, and then you might try them out, or the ones you find interesting. So I think it can be a nice gateway into the ecosystem.
Yeah, for sure. Very good gateway ecosystem. So, and just so I can understand this, so it's got their number. So, for anyone that is listening, tokenaut.cash, and this is the site to check out. You can look at the different NFT projects on Bitcoin Cash. And we've got here, so the minted sold. And is there a cutoff point, or is this just overall time? I'm just thinking, could it be just how could someone enter in at number one, number two? um or is it something that's based on a time limit, so it's the calculation, this ranking is by based over the last month, the last 3 months, or is it all time?
Yeah, this is all time. So the amount minted sold, yeah, is all time, and that's the ranking by default. You can also click, for example, the mint price or the mint revenue. So you can also filter by some of these other columns. But yeah, what I find interesting is, because to link it back to our previous conversation about revenue and building a business, and have actually caring about income streams. That's also why there is a column mint revenue. So you can see there's the amount minted, then there's the mint price. So it's pretty trivial to calculate, to multiply these two numbers, and to see what each of these NFT projects, what they earned, right?
I may have, I don't know if it's on my website or not, but when I saw by mint revenue, BCH Guru is at the top, 436, but in place one, two, three, so place 6, it actually showing nothing, and then it seems to be not in order. So maybe because I'm just looking at BCH Bliss is one that interests me. So 47.25 raised through BCH Bliss. And it's quite far down there, so maybe I'll be writing a bug report after this,
Okay,
just to get just to
sure.
get just to get that working.
Yeah,
And so
because
yeah,
there's the eternal, it's working on my computer because I'm looking at the same page. So then,
really,
yeah,
okay, there you go. Very
let's get
interesting.
that bug report to me. And that's
So I'm
one
using
thing generally.
Safari,
Oh,
so
that
probably
might
not
be.
the most common browser, I guess, on your site.
Yeah, but just generally, of course, all this software is very new and often maintained by very few people as a hobby project. So definitely, if you notice something is not working, yeah, reach out with a bug report, a few details, and then it can be fixed for everyone else. So
Good. Then I'll contact you after this and with a screenshot and I can show you. Speaking of BCH Bliss, I have a fiendish shout out number two. So builder, entrepreneur, or Freedom Cash fan tickets for BCH Bliss are on sale now at www.bliss.cash/2025. Matthew, I understand you are a speaker at Bliss. So yeah, excited to hear about that. So what's in store for us over these 3 days? Do you know?
yeah, so let me check what the website says because has been a small change of plans. So currently the website says State of Cash Tokens 2025, but as we hinted to before, I might have something more exciting to announce. So yeah,
Oh, your
my talk,
project is getting released. We've got the scoop.
then
a,
not no releases
a
yet, but
release of a release, an announcement of a release.
yeah, an announcement of an announcement like we're doing today. So yeah. So my talk title is still not final. Let's just keep it at that.
Oh, this just got much more exciting. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. So, I guess, I mean, when coming back to the point where you made that BCH, for BCH to succeed, so this was to answer the Bitcoin Cash podcast's question of how to get more resources allocated into the app layer. The answer was to really that the community within itself should form more or on enterprises together and to come together, work together to deliver products, apps with real value. How do you see BCH Bliss fits into that sort of that answer that you gave and that concept?
Yeah, so indeed, to rephrase the answer is if companies are created and organizations or groups are formed, then those can have a very specific pitch about what they want to raise money for, right? So what they want to build, then they can think about what their costs are, what they need. They can do a long-term planning, but more importantly, they can pitch a specific idea. Whereas if you think generally about how do we get more VC money in the space, it's like a very broad problem. So to circle back to Bliss, well, with Bliss, there's many motivated people around who are all thinking about Bitcoin Cash, many of whom want to be even more involved than they are currently, or who see opportunities which they might have the skills for or might only have partial skills for, so they need to collaborate and team up. So I would say Bliss is the ideal opportunity to maybe look for people to team up with, or to hear around if anyone is if you are looking for investment or things like that. Maybe you can find connections or get to know people who might be helpful later. So it's really also a networking event, and you will get to know all the relevant people who there are surrounding Bitcoin Cash, and even if you only need to get to know a guy who knows a guy, right? So if you can get a referral, or if you have a specific plan of action, you have an ID, talk to people about it, let them know what you are looking for or what you want to pursue. Often it's not your ID that's worth $1 billion, but it's all about the execution. So make sure that you take the first steps towards actually doing the thing, or building the project, or sketching out how you would approach it. Make a document, get some ideas on paper. Maybe think about how would you do the logo, or how would you anything that you can already prepare and pitch to people, get them excited, get them on board, can help by actually building your project or your team, and maybe even your company. So Bliss is the ideal place, I think, for this.
Yeah, I would agree. The ideal place. Really you get to meet, as you say, the key people of Bitcoin Cash, or the lot of the builders. So as far as I actually aware, so I see Jeremy's listening. I don't know if he wants to confirm, but from all the builders that were there last year, as far as I can see, they're either all coming again this year or the majority. It certainly is a great signal to how that event last year went, and um, great possibilities. So for everyone, I mean, for me, someone that's coming as a huge Bitcoin Cash fan, is a great believer of the benefits of separating money from the state. I think this is there's so much there for even an enthusiast. But of course, if you're interested in actually, how can I help this ecosystem? How can I try and earn money um, um, working in Bitcoin Cash, making it a success, and creating products that offer real value, or helping with those products that are already sort of existing or in development to reach their market, then Bitcoin Cash is by far, in my experience, the best place, the best event within the entire ecosystem to attend and find out how you, with your particular specialities and your individualities, can offer something meaningful to Bitcoin Cash. And hopefully, as we all want is to create value so that you can create revenue, so that you can grow whatever it is that you're doing, and offer ever more. So yeah, very excited. I'm very excited to hear about what you have to offer, Matthew. It's going to be good. Very
Yeah,
good. All
yeah,
right.
looking forward to it as well. It was an awesome time last year. So it's 3 months from now. I'm counting down on my calendar.
Yeah, it's 3 months. And I've seen a few more tickets have sold recently. There's still, I think, 58 available. So if you haven't got your ticket yet already, meow, um, then then go and have a look at that. Um, so yeah, the great thing about BCH Bliss is that you can, if you use Traveler, you can pay for your plane tickets to fly into Ljubljana, the capital city of Slovenia. You can pay for the hotel, so it's part of the Marriott chain. You can pay for the hotel in Bitcoin Cash. The bar is accepting Bitcoin Cash. So it's a really great experience for many people in the crypto world. They've never actually spent a single cent in crypto. They've just bought it and kept it on an exchange. And this is the real BCH deal. So yeah, looking forward to seeing you again there, Mathieu. I guess that'll be the next time we see each other in person. And I'm looking forward to having a beer and discussing whatever it is you're going to be presenting to us. So yeah, I'm holding on to my seatbelt.
Yeah, looking forward to it. The beers afterwards are always fun. Um, and there's another specific part of Bliss I'm always also looking forward to. It's like the builders open ground or showcase, and I'm hoping that Roscoe and I will again do a CashScript work session, so like a workshop, so that people who have no idea what CashScript is about, and maybe even the explanation today sounded a bit technical, well, in that workshop, we'll actually get our hands dirty. So that's what we did last year, and we got super positive reactions. And this year, the tooling will even be even better. And now we have some experience doing a workshop. So I think this year we'll do some preparation so we can give people an even better introduction to CashScript.
Oh, good. Is Roscoe coming as well? Did I understand?
Yes, Roscoe is on the website as one of the speakers. Let me quickly confirm. Yeah, so second day, Wednesday the 14th, on the website it says that it starts with a presentation by Roscoe. So
There we go. It's just got even better. So for those listening, Roscoe is the original brains behind CashScript. Was it part of his doctorate or
yes,
master's? Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I think it's masters. Yeah, it's masters because then he went straight into cryptocurrency industry full time.
Yeah, great. Yeah, just looking now. Yeah, Roscoe. Okay, good. So I'm really looking forward. Yeah, no, last time there's the cash script workshop was a real hit. There was many people there. rolling up the sleeves, getting their hands dirty, getting the best tips from the people that created this and have fleshed this out. So you can't get any better guidance on that. I'd like to move. So I see the time's rushing on. Hopefully you've still got a few more minutes, Matthew.
Yeah, sure.
I just want to talk about your BCH reviews. So every year you write a review on the state of.
Oh,
Was that?
1 second. I'll be right back. Right. And then if you can repeat your question,
I will
I'll.
do. Yeah. But for those listening seriously, BCH Bliss. There are not so many places left. So I think 58 tickets. And if you haven't got that ticket already, then come. So currently, so looking at the speakers, we've got Callum Kulianis, the developer behind BCHN and Electron Cash. We've got Daga Valberg is there. He's the CEO of Riften Labs. So Mario USD is the first stable coin that's running on Cash tokens, and the brains behind Cauldron Decks. Peter Risen is joining us, talking about how to scale blockchain with hardware. So Bitcoin Unlimited founder is joining us. Roscoe Callis, as we heard, and Mathieu Geukens will be there to talk about CashScript and to show this, do this in a workshop. And Matthew will be hopefully presenting some new project that he's been working on. So super exciting. And David Shattuck is there from A Fifth of Gaming. And I myself will be there propping up the bar and spending some Bitcoin Cash.
Also important.
Also very important, yes. Got to keep the money flowing. Yeah, so again, Matthew, so the BCH review. This is something that you write every year.
Yes.
And the BCH review 2024, you crowned it BCH's best year yet, with some missed opportunities with cash tokens, not reaching into the broader cryptocurrency, and challenges attracting developers and businesses from the other chains. We've discussed a little bit about what needs to be done to improve the ecosystem and certain activities that are sort of ongoing to do that. So, how do you see 2025 shaping up so far? So, the first 2 months, and what do you see by the year end to help realize those opportunities that were maybe missed in 2024?
Yeah, good question. So, of course, we're only 1 month and a half in. But for example, just before I
Whoa!
joined
But
this,
in crypto times, that's like 5 years for people.
that's true. But yeah, so I wanted to say, in the beginning of this year, there was Bitcoin Cash Artist with the idea of making a product or a project similar to Pump Fun, which is very popular on Solana. And it's probably a part of the cause for the meme coin craze over there. And I just saw an announcement before coming on that there is already an app being developed by Pat. So I will have to chase down the link after this space. But it's things like this that make me very optimistic. So that there's builders that creating products that actually have a lot of potential to find product market fit. So yeah, I'll be trying it out. So specifically this Pump Fun. I don't know if it's a clone or just similar in ideas, but I will be looking into, and I hope other people do the same, so we can see how it can be improved or what's good about it or how much money I should put into these meme tokens. So I guess that's just one specific example of a thing that launched, but I know for a fact that there's multiple other projects that are building some very ambitious things. But of course, ambitious things take time. But yeah, behind the screens, I know that there's a lot of ambitious projects being taken on.
It's funny you mentioned that. Yeah, so I saw this Pump Fund. So Pat is actually joining us next week for Fiendish and Friends episode 13, which had been planned for several weeks or whatever a month actually. So that's really nice timing. So BCH Pump Fund. So it's actually a link already available on tapswap.cash/pump. And yeah, need to just seeing this now, so need to link in this as you say, to thinking about how much money to put into this. It's probably not the wisest thing to mortgage the house and go all in, but a bit of fun money is definitely worthwhile having for some giggles. Yeah, okay. So 2024, yes, only just begun, lots of months left. We've got just a couple of months until BCH Bliss. So the conference really with a focus on building, but absolutely open for everyone that is interested in Bitcoin Cash or even just Freedom Tech, P2P money. I know that we've got some people that are more affinity to Nano will be joining. Milanda Reed is one of them, and he'll be coming and showcasing his products, the Nano GPT, which is also accepting Bitcoin Cash, where you can spend your Bitcoin Cash for tokens of using all different types of AI models. So he'll also be there and showcasing his work on in the sort of builders open floor. And maybe we'll also have BCH Bump will also be part of this. Let's see from Mainnet Pat.
Yeah.
Cool. Then, yeah, time is, we've been an hour and a half with some technical challenges in between, but Matthew, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. You're an asset to the community. So a lot of your products, you've released a lot of stuff that's open source. Anyone can download, they can use, they can tweak on. And I'm super excited to see what your next projects are. With a more business mind, or I assume making an assumption here that it's more in that direction. Because I personally would be. I think it's in BCH's interests that you have the funding to continue doing the most excellent work that you're doing. And I'm also very interested to see you sort of fulfilling the prophecy that if the best way of increasing Bitcoin Cash's network effect is by building great products, great apps, successful apps that sends that signal to the rest of the market that this is the chain to build on. So good luck with that, and hope you get it all out in time for BCH Bliss.
Yeah, thanks for those kind words. And I'll definitely have a presentation, whether things are ready or not.
Great stuff. So, yeah, for all of you listeners out there, make sure to follow Matthew on Twitter. You can follow him at Geukens Matthew to keep up to date with the hottest BCH ecosystem takes. If you enjoyed the show and wanted to show your appreciation, please feel free to drop some BCH or Fiendish token into our wallet. The address is also in a comment on the original Spaces, the one that crashed and bailed. But we managed to get it back on the road. And what's great is in the recorded version, you won't hear any of the gaps and the technical issues. It will just be a streamlined conversation. So this is why if listening to it afterwards on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, and the rest is sometimes it better in that case. Next week, as discussed, already said, mainnet Pat, developer behind TapSwap, Cash, Emerald DAO, and also the XMR to BCH Atomic Swaps, joins us. And this is the same time. No, actually, sorry, the next episode's next Friday, 12 o'clock Central European time. So it's a little bit earlier. This was Fiendish and Friends. I wish you all good morning, good day, good night. Take care.
Take care. Bye bye.